Hello and welcome to Not So Daft Gamecraft. Another quick view of the village today. I want to go over some changes I made, and then we're going to talk about getting villagers in here and how we're going to do that. If you remember, we were very lucky to stumble across a spawner, a zombie spawner, very close to the surface and very close to the village. So we'll take a look at that too, and I'll go over my plans for getting the zombies cured, zombie villagers cured and brought into the village. But quick recap of where we're at with the village. Okay, so here we have an umbrella table. Pretty basic build. You can see part of the trick right there. That's spider string. And you just basically go around and touch the post, and the string gets laid down, and then you can put down the carpet, which is much better looking than the trapdoors I was using. Do have trapdoors for the table. Pretty typical build. Been trying to make this place look a little more lived in, so I've thrown down some random gourds. Now the flags. So at night, the illagers are spawning inside this village. I don't know if this is normal. There isn't a village nearby, not super close, but they're spawning in here, which is kind of weird. So I've killed the Flagbearer several times, and that gives you this what's it called? It gives you a status effect that causes you to start a raid if you go into a village. So I've been running over to the villages. I got one to the east and one to the west, and killing raiders as they come in. And what's pretty cool is it's a great way to get emeralds. There is an Extreme Hills location near here, but I haven't set up a mine. But I've got 64 emeralds. I got a stack of emeralds on nothing but participating in village raids. I might do a video on that. Okay. Church is kind of as we left it. I've been doing a ton of exploring using the nether to make short distances, and then running back with a compass to the village here. So I got a ton of bells. Not a lot has changed at this end of the village. I have added random little wheat patches. There's one there, one over there. The idea being that the villagers, when they do come in, will harvest wheat, kind of take care of themselves a little bit. I think we went over the cantina or tavern or saloon in the last one. I really did want to use gates here to make it look like a proper saloon, but the villagers don't really recognize gates as doors, and they don't at all. So we added this restaurant with its own little cafe tables outside. Chewy's Restaurante Autentico Fresco. I hope that's correct. This is still happening. Jumping when you touch walls. Gave it this nice deep facade so that it wouldn't be the same color inside as it is out. So it's white on the inside. I love the shiny nether stones. They look like floor tiles. Put down some tablecloths. I had set these one little time, like I had set them on that square, and then I gave them table legs from fence posts. But you couldn't put carpet on them to represent cloth, tablecloth. So they kind of are floating, but they look a little bit more of the business. Haven't completely fleshed out the inside of this one yet, but my goal is not to bring villagers in until we're basically ready with structures and doors, and I think we're ready. I added this room back here. It's a kitchen. Not 100% certain that I like it. I don't know why I added that water there, but there it is. That's kind of interesting. Oh, I didn't think about that. That explains why the water was... So I used steel... it doesn't really look like steel. I could have anything here. I could have just white. At least it would be continuous. Probably going to want to visit this again. But barrels as storage containers. Again, underneath the floor of this restaurant is tons of profession blocks. The idea being that it will attract the villagers to come in. It's got a second floor, which is mostly just for show. I don't know who's going to come up here. In case they do, I put some beds in. But, you know, we'll see. I figure they probably will eventually, but I don't think they're going to make much use of that. It's the only building without beds on the main floor, because over here I added back rooms so that they'd have some place to sleep. I think when I told you guys I was going to come to the Mesa to do this, I indicated that I wanted to keep it simple. I have not. It's gotten much more in depth. I replaced the market stall umbrellas with the new style carpet ones because I like it. Got some random hay bales. We've got some crops. We got some cows. I expanded the village this way, but this is off limits to the villagers. And I did that just to get the cows kind of outside of the village. To the best of my knowledge, villagers don't interact with or use cows. So here's a view from the backside. A lot of this is facade work. I just want it to look right. There it is, laid out. My initial plan was to build the entire village inside of that fort. That fort is as I pictured it. I was going to have a tiny little saloon in there and a few houses. But like all of my builds, it just got big. Now, see down there is where we're going to get our villagers. From here. I'm not going to be too complicated about this. I have 2 spawners for XP, so this does not need to be built to be an XP spawner. Instead, I'm going to carve it out, and I'm going to put in a lift system. We are so close to the ground that to the surface, I'm just going to have a set of lift pipes come up and go right back down. I'll build it all outside. So they'll move by the water, come up, and probably somewhere here or so, I'll kill regular zombies, which will generate XP. But the cured ones, I'm gonna set it up so that a trapdoor blocks the zombies from falling, or maybe a piston. And when I get a zombie villager in the chute, I'm going to shut the flow off, cure that guy, and then release him. I'll probably have some kind of a, maybe an iron door so it can't be accidentally opened. Once released, the villager will drop into a water trough and rise back up. So they'll come up in a trough system that's going to carry them across and deposit them safely inside the village. And then I'll extend the trough so that we deposit some by the church, some by the back structure of the Mesa dens, some inside the fort itself, some near the market, and so on. So the last thing I'm going to do before I build this thing is give myself a little bit more housing inside the fort. The fort is very empty. I've been afraid to add housing inside the fort because I don't really want to take away from the feel that you're in a fort. But I've got to do something. So I'm going to do some very simple shed structures with a bed, and so that we can kind of get villagers everywhere. This is probably too big a build. I did it again. By the way, you see that guy over there? My friend here. So I've had a lot of luck with Enderman. And we now have almost 2 stacks of Ender Pearls. By the way, they also dropped these Totems of Undying in the raids, which is nice. I've got like 4 of those. So I've had a lot of luck with Ender Pearls. I've got like 30 Ender Pearls, or 30, I think it's 30. So like when we do find the portal for the end, we don't need any Ender Pearls at all. It's fantastic, which is great. So yeah, I've been real busy. Village is, for the most part, wrapped up. A couple of small internal structures. You know, I need to find a way to add some beds to the inside of the church. I've got space behind the church. It goes back into that Mesa top there. So I'll probably put a little rectory in, like a little hallway that somehow maybe off the side. I don't want to cut into the structure too much since I really like the way the church looks. Probably going to replace those redstone blocks that light up the redstone lamps. I like the way the redstone lamps look. There is a underwater temple, or whatever it's called, ocean monument, over here to the west. So if I want to go get sea lanterns and that kind of stuff, I could make the cross out of sea lanterns. But actually, I really like the look of that cross. So I'm probably going to put switches on it instead and have the switches turn it on. So it's not so bulky with the big red blocks behind it. Anyway, so a little bit more housing inside the central structure there. Beds for the church. And I think that ought to do it. We'll be ready to start getting our friends in here. All right. Thank you for watching Not So Daft Gamecraft, this quick little walkthrough and visit to the village. I have been Gosip. You've been great.